Welcome to our first devlog of 2026 on Mission Knot. Quick little updates. Not a ton of stuff got done that is, visually there for you to witness, but I want to kind of cover a couple things just to kind of get you guys all caught up on where we're at. So, where did we focus our energy throughout December and January? Well, we focused on going back to literally player movement, the most basic function of the game. We wanted to make sure that this is feeling quick and responsive, and that the movement and the pathfinding is acting and functioning the way that we want it. I know it sounds crazy to be going back to movement after almost 10 months developing this, but you kind of put things in there. You get to a certain point where it feels like you can't finish anything without some of those core, um, you know, pieces of gameplay functioning and working the way that you would expect it to. And to be honest, movement was one of those. We kind of got it in there, and then we started developing all the little other pieces of content for the game, and it kind of just got out of hand to the point where once we got to combat, it just never felt like movement was doing what we wanted it to do, which then forced us to kind of go through, refactor a lot of code, clean it all up, make things that we need to kind of interface to a little bit easier, and make managing the project a lot easier overall, which we accomplished. But that first thing that we went back to doing was movement. So you'll notice that movement feels a lot more responsive. And the reason that is because we did up the game ticks of the game. So it's just a little bit speedier. So your clicks and inputs are happening a little bit faster and registering a little bit faster. So you can kind of see how the player is like really just like as soon as you click it, he's turning and going. And the reason why this is happening is now the server, which will be represented by this blue ball, is going to be ahead of the player, and the client is going to be catching up to the blue ball. You'll notice the little jitter that we still have not completely worked out, but the client is essentially just catching up to the server at this point. It never really gets too far ahead. It's always kind of just about one block, or if we're running, it's 2 blocks ahead. Um, or 2 tiles is probably the better way to put it. But yeah, so pretty neat. You can kind of see how it works on the server. You'll notice that pathfinding feels a lot better. The player doesn't get caught around corners. It kind of moves the way you would want it to around corners. It's taking a much better path, a much more natural path. The next thing that we worked on was animations after interactions. So you'll notice, like if I click on our shop, player makes a little animation, or if we come on into the bank here, we'll open up the bank, and we can also see that this is also working with crafts. And when we interact with like a crafting thing, you'll also see that we introduced level up notifications of the world. So it has a little fun little, visual effect, and then the level will come up overhead. So players would be able to see, what skill you just leveled up in, what level you're at, um, things like that. Um, we also worked on getting our mining back in. So this idea of us coming in and now having an animation, while none of them are actually, final animations, they're just Maximo, animations that we put in the game. Uh, this interaction we just didn't have before, the ability to slot in a level visual effect and then eventually a sound just was not there. The animation, whether we want a looping animation or like a single action, like a single burst animation where it just happens with that particular um, input. We have support for both types. So whether we want the person to get there first and then start animating and doing it, or if we want the animation to happen as soon as it's able to, we can do that. And you'll see how that plays a role once we get back to combat, which is most likely the next thing that we focus on. So we've kind of gone back, as I mentioned, and worked on and refined some of these core systems like movement, like these animations and leveling up, and we'll add in the level requirements and tool requirements and things like that. Uh, but everything's getting cleaned up, kind of moving into some of those more final states of these pieces of content with inside the game. We will be bringing in combat again, refining the AI pathfinding logic and AI for our little alien guys that we used to have, bring back our loot since that was fun, combat, clean up combat, introduce our robot companion mechanic, which will be the idea of feeding different items to it to level it up. So it'll function sort of as like a little item sink as well as this kind of unique character that can assist you in battle or protect you in battle or provide additional utilities that will just add that next level of uniqueness to the account. And then once we finish that up, I think we really want to deep dive into potentially getting accounts set up so that you can register an account, create an account. We are building our game using something called Spacetime DB, and they just released a authentication process that we can now be using in order to set up authentication for the game. So we want to set that up, and then once we're allowed to get you guys into the game, I think it would be awesome to build out, a little bit bigger of a world, a bigger space, build up some more skills, since there's plenty of skills that we can start introducing some more, um, you know, loops for, like core loops for these things. We obviously are not deep diving into any of these, but we'll be offering the core loops of the gameplay right now, so that we can get you guys in and playing. We've kind of been building this from the ground up with the ability to have people hop in and start playing, but we want to figure out our way of deploying it without having to erase the database and lose all progress. So that'll kind of be the next steps is bring combat back, make sure combat's feeling good and feels releasable, and then go ahead and start working on accounts, you know, level restrictions, item restrictions, and then get a deployment out for you guys. So that's your update for February, and we will see you guys next month. If you're interested in the project, definitely jump into our Discord or just subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.